Malaysia, no doubt that Airbnb has become a popular platform to increase rental yield. Investors can use Airbnb as a way to maximize their rental yield on their property and reap superior gains.
Yep, the two main reasons why Airbnb is so popular is because not everyone who is traveling can afford a good hotel room, which makes the Airbnb property is a good alternative. Secondly, property investors have found renting out their property as a short-term rental to be a profitable business option.
Now, statistics have shown that 68% of Malaysians are likely to use Airbnb when they travel, and that short-term rental accommodations is beneficial for local communities too. In this video, we are going to dive in deeper about Airbnb, how it started, how's the Airbnb market in Malaysia, how does it affect investors and all of us Malaysians.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to VC, where we share about real estate, business and mindset. My name is Vincent.
And I'm Chloe. So before we actually dive in deeper, a fun fact about Airbnb, how it came from and what does it actually mean. Is it just me, or I've always thought that Airbnb is that legit word?
Actually, yeah, but who knew that Airbnb actually stands for Air, Bed and Breakfast?
Exactly. So Airbnb is an online service that lets property owner rent out their property on a short-term rental basis. This service is mostly used by travelers who are visiting a country on holiday or for business purposes and are looking for a place to stay for a few days or weeks. People can rent an Airbnb space for multiple people to share a shared space with private rooms or the entire property for themselves.
The idea started when two of the founders, Brian Chesky and Joe Gabriel, were looking to get some extra cash back in October 2007. When it's close to the Industrial Designers Conference in San Francisco, there was a shortage of hotel rooms and accommodation, so they decided to buy 3 air mattresses and rent out for like $80 per night. So they advertised this service in a blog and 3 people made reservations.
When these 3 people showed up at their doorstep, 2 of the founders thought that they may have stumbled upon a big idea. One of their former roommates joined the team as one of the Airbnb founders and developed a business model around this idea.
Together, they built Air, Bed and Breakfast. By 2010, Airbnb was a multi-billion ringgit company. It's valued today well over like 120 billion.
Damn. So if you didn't know, Airbnb is the world's most valuable accommodation provider with 640,000 hosts spread over 57,000 cities in 191 countries. Airbnb has completed over 80 million bookings and today has 2.3 million listings.
Damn, that's crazy. Given in the time frame that they could achieve that, Airbnb is actually a legit game changer that is actually impacting the property market, tourism and hospitality.
Now, of course, all of us have different opinions on the Airbnb market. Questions like, is this even legal? Well, there are actually no specific laws in Malaysia in regard to Airbnb. However, the legality of Airbnb is explained by the Urban Wellbeing, Housing and Local Government Ministry, where Airbnb is said to be an online transaction and is an agreement between the host and a traveler.
Yep, technically it means that Airbnb is in a rental context, just an agreement between 2 parties who connected via a site and have mutual conform to let out or rent the property for several days.
Yep, although there are no federal laws regarding on Airbnb, it is currently being regulated by the local government in each state individually, meaning let's say Sabah, Penang, Klang all have different rulings on Airbnb rental.
Yep, for example, the strict Airbnb ruling in Sabah in 2017, the state government in Sabah confirmed that the operation of Airbnb units in residential building in the state is illegal due to the nature of Airbnb as a kind of business, and it created the threat to the local hotel industry from a rapid growth of short-term rental accommodation.
Hence, the business model is illegal to operate under the residential property, but only for commercial purposes only. Airbnb is only able to operate on the land zone for commercial or commercial mixed use only, and they must see approval from a lodging house license to operate, and the host must also comply with fire safety requirements.
On the other hand, short-term rental only allowed with 75% approval from residential in Penang. The operations of short-term accommodation must first get approval from the respective buildings, JMB, as the joint management body at MC as the management corporation that in charge of the strata property.
It is stated by the Commissioner of Building under the Penang Island City Council (BMPP) that 75% of residents must provide their approvals in the annual general meeting conducted by the building's management. There will be a penalty of 200 ringgit for those who violate any house rules relating on the restrictions of short-term rental.
Yet there are proposals for the federal government to see if a stricter penalty could be implemented, as 200 ringgit fine is not entirely effective, so take note for Penang homeowners.
Let's talk about Klang Valley. There are no specific law implemented in Klang Valley yet, as they are not outrightly banned Airbnb, but some local authorities have come up with new ways to regulate short-term rentals in Malaysia.
Yet DBKL has encouraged property owners to register their residential properties online, as there are thousands of condominiums scattered around the entire Klang Valley. DBKL has dedicated its power to residential management when it comes to short-term rental regulations.
Therefore, whether or not you're allowed to run your unit with Airbnb operation will be up to your JMB or MC, who might enforce bylaws in the future. We would suggest that it would be safer to operate such short-term rentals in a commercial titled building for hassle-free.
Yep, now let's talk about the impact on tourism with the appearance of Airbnb. Malaysia is currently at the 11th most visited country in the world. Thailand and Malaysia are close fight for the number one spot in Southeast Asia.
We as Malaysians are so proud that we're living in such a beautiful place in Malaysia, right?
Yep, in 2019, we had total of 239.1 million domestic visitors, 8.1% compared to 2018, a total of 26.1 million international tourists visited Malaysia compared to 25.8 million in 2018. We took 2019 as an example because this is a pre-COVID statistic. Do you know that the tourism is one of the largest industry in Malaysia? It contributes 6.7% into the GDP in 2019.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yep, so it generates 50.4 billion direct tourism GDP to the economy in 2019. Speaking about the latest year in 2021, tourism in Malaysia has generated 197.9 billion of the gross value added by contributing 12.8% to the GDP compared to the 54.8% decline in 2020.
Seems like tourism is recovering in Malaysia again. It means more international and domestic travelers, more demand on short-term stay, right?
Yep. So Airbnb is providing the travelers with the ability to experience better vacation at a lower cost. A family of four that would have required 2 hotel rooms in the past, but now you can stay in one Airbnb unit that even comes with a kitchen and all facilities that an average family would need.
Yes, exactly. Tourism revenue is positively influenced by Airbnb. In our research, the typical Airbnb guest stays 2.1 times longer than the hotel guest and spends 2.1 times more. Since Airbnb has brought in accommodation diversity that is very uncommon in this field. Typically, your choice for accommodation were typically a friend or relative's house or even hotel when you visit another country, right?
Yep, but the good thing is you can book accommodation on a boat, a tree house, a seashell house, or whatever caravan. Its diversity is literally unimaginable. So not only that it's more cost effective but more personalized hospitality and richer experience as well. You might wonder, will hotel go out of business because of Airbnb?
To be honest, Airbnb will not likely put hotels out of business, but create a new demand in the market, and hotels have their own niche too. It's like the airline industry. Budget airlines wouldn't put big carriers out of businesses. Instead, they create new demand and served areas that were not cost effective for the big carriers.
Yep, what if you are interested in getting into big business like hotel, earning positive cash flow each month, yet building your own hotel costs a lot of money, right? Even to kickstart with. So Airbnb is a way to go, and it's more cost friendly compared to building your own hotel.
Yes, Airbnb has become increasingly popular in Malaysia as a tool to increase rental yield from renting out your unit for 2,500 in long-term rental, but short-term rental like Airbnb could give you up to 5,000 or more. We are going to compare the differences between long-term rental and short-term rental in the next video, so make sure you're subscribed and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of the new real estate videos.
Yep, in Kuala Lumpur, the average daily room rates is roughly around like 280 and the occupancy rate at 70, let's say. You're looking at 5,880 a month in revenue. In comparison to the cost for a new property in KL, it could go up to like 1,700 per square feet, so that it means that a unit of studio unit is gonna be like 350 square feet, which costs you nearly around like 600,000. At 3.8% interest for the 30 years loan, your repayment will be around like 2,516 ringgit.
Yeah, if your unit is renting at 280 ringgit per day with 70% occupancy rate, the revenue will get you 5,880 ringgit. After deducting some management fee, utility, and monthly repayments, you're gonna get a net profit around 2,300. You'll be looking at around 10% gross annual rental yield.
Yep, exactly. So although this is just an example, there's still property that you can find in such price. As long as you can enter a relatively lower price and manage it with a high occupancy rate, you will definitely see a positive result.
There are a lot of factors that would affect the outcome from the investment, such as entry costs, exact locations, development quality as in value, furnishing, transportation, amenities, and many more. Hence, units need to be evaluated from all of the factors rather than taking the area as a whole.
Although Airbnb have given tremendous good impact for property investors and also the tourism market, the rise of Airbnb has made a lot of negative impact on homeowners who felt that their privacy is being violated by allowing strangers to come into the enclosed safety of their apartments complex, as the majority of the initial Airbnb investors are utilizing the residential property as their business model.
Not only that, this caused a lot of budget hotels to be hit badly due to the competitive nature. Some are even strongly against it as they are paying for residential utility rates, tax involvement, and so on. Some even voice out that they would rather close their businesses, buy apartments, and run Airbnb instead. This is why the federal court ruled that JMB and MC are involved in restricting residential units that turn into Airbnb and making money that way through their own house rules.
Yep, as management bodies now can create by law to curb short-term rentals, it is advised that property owners who are thinking to operate their units on Airbnb should check with their JMB or MC beforehand, including landed strata schemes such as townhouses and landed gated and guarded homes. Make sure that investors like you shall conduct the necessary due diligence beforehand to prevent any inconvenience in the future.
The majority of supporters are property investors who have found it as a way to maximize their rental yield on their property investment, allowing them to reap superior gains which they would have not been able to without it.
Now, Airbnb comes with a risk. This will not be as stable as renting it out for long term, getting solid monthly rentals and less management needed to be done. Yet it has definitely changed the face of property investing in Malaysia and allowed the property investors across the country to turn negative cash flow investment into a positive ones, while helping people to make a living by renting out their property to tourists and travelers.
Yes, exactly. It's not hard to see why investors love Airbnb and fully utilize the globally growing sharing economy to maximize their gains. There you have it, a quick and simple way to understand how Airbnb became one of the way for property investors to build a fortune.
Yep, we have recently toured a newly completed service apartment that mainly for short-term stay that is 5 minutes away from KLCC. You can check the video out here.
Or if you want to know how you can purchase your first investment property, you can check out this video right here, and we will see you in the next video. Ciao!